Now here, as you can see, this is my talkover, Strangeways 1980. I was actually here in 1976, and what I am using this video for as a talkover. This is why I came to, and I was stood exactly where these boys was as a 19-year-old, 1976, first whack of Borstal. And as you can see, these boys get sent onto the induction wing, which is A2. That is exactly the same wing that was induction in 1976. The things you'll see on this video are exactly the same as there was in 1976. I believe Mr. Brown was still the governor here. Now, he was a war hero. He got blew up in a tank, and I've said that on the first part of my video, so I'll leave that bit. The centre that they stood on, these boys are stood round because they're not allowed to stand on it. You had to walk round clockwise. Only the screws could walk on that grill and walk straight across. Convicts had to walk clockwise. Now, on this wing that they've just walked up on, it is A, B, C, and D wing. D wing is the smallest wing. It's got like a porter-cabin office type of thing on it, on the beginning of it, and it was smallest wing. Induction wing, as always, A wing, and you've got exactly the same centre and wing structures down on the cons, which are E, F, G, H wing. And I were down there on the cons as well, but that's to come up in later videos, getting closer to the prison riots. Now, we'll start this video moving, and I'll explain things as it goes along. There he goes, walking onto A2. His head's up his arse. 19-year-old, like I was. That's his new pad mate. And they don't know what's happening to him. They're all trying to get a look. Wow, look at this place, they're thinking. Screws here, can't wait. Can't bang them up fast enough, look. Get in there, you muppets. Your piss bucket will want scrubbing out. Your bowls will need scrubbing out, and they'll be full of grease because you've got to wash your own trays in the same bowl that you get a wash. You only got one trip to recess at Slop Out, and you had to empty piss bucket, get your drinking water, any hot water if there was any. It will lukewarm at best, and that depends on. There it is, look. You've got two set up same. That old tower is old cooling tower.
Society has exacted its revenge on the hundreds of men sleeping in these wings. They have lost their freedom. But for the vast majority, the punishment they endure will neither reform.
I had just come here after being released from St. Killen's Approved School, 1974. By 1976, I was here, first whack of borstal, doing all what these lads are doing here. And your head is up your arse. You don't know what's happening. All you know is you've got 6 months to 2 years. You don't even know which borstal you're going to, because you have to go to the OCA shop, which stands for Observation, Classification, Allocation. To classify, allocate, and send you to the appropriate borstals. From here, first borstal they sent me to was Hatfield, but soon as I got there I knew I wasn't stopping. So I told them to get me back to Strangeways. I wasn't running off and losing remission, which is what they did. They sent me back here for another couple of months, and then on to Everfort Borstal, my first whack. They're going down now for the meal. They're going down and walking right under the wing, right under the centre there. That's the grill above the heads. This is the hot plate. The screw stood on the centre as watching the queue as it goes down. And then he'll shout them and send them on. Then they'll go up the other wing, the other end, up the centre, round the centre, down to the appropriate wing, onto the landing. By the time you get to your cell, your food is congealed on the plate. And as you can see, there's quite a fair few out at once. This will be fort riots. The screws in this place were animals. Always was. Always have been. The only thing that's changed is the drugs that the lads smoke. These days it were cannabis and screws were left. Would rather you smoked weed, got your head down and left them alone. This is what we had to go through.
Trevor has become yet another number to add to a record prison population of over 44,000.
That kid don't know whether his name's Arthur or Martha.
People in this country as a percentage of the population than any other in Western Europe.
I didn't even have family that had come and visit me. And here I am stuck in Salford.
Manchester's prison Manchester is better known for the district in which it stands, Strangeways. Built in 1869, it was designed to hold just over 1,000 men and women.
You have two units like that. YPs, and then you have another one, same for cons. And down on cons, outside between the wings,
1,600, with a cost per man to the taxpayer of £120 per week. Strangeways now remands men, allocates them to different prisons, and acts as a local jail where prisoners will spend their whole
that's your OCA.
I'm banged up in here. Say 23 hours a day is a load of rubbish. Load of shit. 23 hours. I'm in this cell 24 hours a day because it says exercise when weather's permitted. And this weather, believe you me, it's always rain. So you're very ready to exercise.
Every word this man is saying is true.
You're pissing in the bucket. You get on your cellmates' nerves. You know what I mean? There's nothing to do. I don't read. It takes me all day to write a letter, so that passes the time away from me. But it's bad news, believe you me.
And it were bad news, believe you me as well, mate. And here he is, Mr. Brown. There you go, Mr. Brown. War hero. Look, there you go, with his hands behind his back. As I told you before we even showed this, this is the weaver's shop.
An ex-tank commander who was severely injured during the war. He has followed his father and grandfather in the prison service. He has a reputation as a hard governor, concerned with discipline and cleanliness.
Look, he won't having that. This is what it were like, look at him. Soldier. But he were a bastard with his screws as well.
By law to accept men sentenced by the courts. For Norman Brown, this may soon become a physical impossibility.
How long can we expect men to tolerate being locked up for 23 hours a day? In this prison, daily, I have an unemployment force.
War hero.
250 men permanent.
Look at his glasses, held on with elastic. That's a wig he's got on his head. He's got no ears.
And I ask myself, how long would I cell.
I got beat half to death at this prison. When I was on G-Wing.
The prison is dependent on the overtime prison officers work in their daily routines.
Down on the cons.
Supervising, fetching, and searching. Without it, the prison would cease to function.
There you go, slop out.
But staff shortage, coupled with the growth of union power,
Piss buckets and everything.
industrial action.
One trip to recess.
Strangeways, it has resulted in no association, no evening classes, and no work. Until conditions improve.
Weaver's
to the
shop.
satisfaction of prison officers.
When you listen to them weavers' machines, the rhythm of the weaver's machine is saying, you'll never get out, you'll never get out, you'll never get out.
A bath once a week, an hour's exercise weather permitting. It is a situation that borders on the
A bath once a week,
We have created a social time bomb for ourselves.
if you were lucky. There you go, the centre. See how many people, this was before riots. Now all them ends at wings are caged off and you don't see this many prisoners out at once. I hope you like this talk over, but when I were here I was terrified. It hadn't even started my life. I'd been beaten half to death with Mr. Peake at St. Camilla's.
Continues regardless. The processing machine never stops.
I am a product of their system, going right back to a proof school, naughty boys all. I missed the short, sharp shock, which was detention centre, which were like a 4-month stint,
Still continue to offer prisoners something
like a borstal. And that one designed to shock you into not wanting to go to borstal. And if you do go to borstal, it starts at 6 months to 2 years. I remember this library. Wow. I met an old lifer in here called Taggy. And this is weird, I've told you no convict stands on that centre. But down on the cons, as the only man that I have ever seen stand on that centre, not only stand on the centre, a convict, but to stand on it in slippers. And that man was Frankie Fraser, who was a hitman for the Cray twins and who was later discharged from B2 HMP Armley block. There you go. Kestrel's nest in that tower. And pigeons used to fly over top. And wild cats that run about on exercise yards. I don't know how they got up there, but they used to get on roof. And as pigeons skimmed over top,
how to be a successful criminal.
that looks like E-wing because of the length of it. E-wing is longest wing in any prison. If I was stood at one end and you were stood at other, even if you'd known me all my life, you wouldn't recognise me.
Well, the guys, they say that. They ask you, when you get out, do you fancy coming with us doing this and that? Where you living when you get out and that? Your pub mates and all that. Bad news, isn't it?
Prison is a school for thieves, and I'm the proof of that. But every sentence I've served after St. Camilla's is a direct result of Mr. David Peake, 8th Dan, England's judo gold Commonwealth champion, nonce and child beater.
My name's Bill Scott, I'm a senior officer acting principal officer, and it's my pleasant duty, I hope, to show you around this afternoon. We're not going to see everything, we've got about an hour and a half.
they'll only show them what they want them to see. They'll have even made sure that there's only the cons in certain places that they want them to see. And this is where the borstal boys would have walked up, and it goes direct up onto the centre. As you walk up onto that and go through them doors up onto that centre, and then you look up and you think, wow. And you hear all shouting and keys jingling. And you have to learn to sleep. But it gets so, a screw can walk up and down the landing a dozen times and you don't think anything. And then all of a sudden you know he's coming to your cell. I don't know how you do, but you do. Look at them.
See when you've seen your receptionists coming into prison, when you come into prison, we're lying around the prison centre, and you can invariably tell the first timer, like a kid who's just gone to Blackpool for the first time.
Because they stand there and look up.
You can tell
Look at it.
he's looking around for pals to wave to, old friends that he's met up with,
That's down on cons.
those that are not working get paid wages. The only difference is the amount of wage they get. Now, they go to the canteen. Now, they can't save money in the canteen. They go there to draw their wages in our shop. You can buy almost anything in there within reason. You're restricted to the amount of tobacco you can buy, 2 ounces. It's the only shop in the world where the customer is always wrong. Because we've got 50...
See what I mean?
You only go once. Yeah. Official. But then again, if a prisoner is working with an officer and he's in a good job,
A kid ripped me off in Weaver's shop, so I signed for his money in Armley.
he's not going to steal, or he wouldn't be in here.
And then I went down and got my own later.
To our society, and he behaved.
I got his name and number, went in canteen, get his name and number, signed his name, got his wage, and went and got him later.
And then in the workshops, they let them up to one.
There's no cages on any wings, and there's cons and everything walking about all of them. All this will be fought riots. So more freedom than there is now. And the only difference between then and now is, instead of pissing in a piss bucket in corner, you're pissing in a toilet while mate is trying to, and you've got bad diarrhea because
The wrong man in the wrong cell.
change your food,
You can say to his two
Mr. Brown.
they from now on will be his char lady. In other words, he won't take any part in the cleaning of the cell. If he's
I've seen Frankie Fraser standing on centre in slippers talking to this man.
take their canteen, their tobacco,
No other convict would get away with that,
the man is so
but Frankie Fraser did.
it can force ordinary, decent prisoners to indulge in a sexual relationship which is completely out of character and font, and they want nothing to do with it.
You see, and he's even telling you things that I'm telling you on my videos.
You've got some very timid people. The violent people who are violent outside are also violent in prison. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And if they can get away with it, they will do. And you've got to stop them. Now, if you get a prisoner putting pressure on another prisoner, you try to stop it.
The try.
Get a prisoner attacking another prisoner,
Exactly, try.
and you've got to stop it physically sometimes.
The cons have always run the nicks.
And then
Even back in Mr. Brown's day when he thought he run it, the cons run it.
when in actual fact all you've done is either protect yourself.
You just need to know who's who.
And that's the kind of
Paul Taylor, what main instigator of the riots here in 1990.
Possible remission. Many a time I feel like it's in the screw. There's screws in me that do help you. It's just sort of made like pure dogs. What else can I say? The conditions. I heard about these conditions on my own. I didn't believe them. I see it for myself now.
Cow pie. Anybody that's been here with these in these days will remember cow pie.
Going out for your dinner. It's been marked that many.
Everybody ate it. Oh my God. You didn't get that many. And them taters weren't that nice, mate. Like pig swill.
On any morning in the week, we start feeding 1,500. And by 12 o'clock, we've all got their lunch and they're back in their cells, which is no mean feat. I won't say they're all satisfied, but they're all back in their cells with their lunch. This is our Chief Catering Officer, Chief Catering Officer Maine. Martin Lawson's Chief.
These cut screws were animals.
And it is very authentic. We don't overdo it. Feel it, have their porridge every day.
Not these young ones that are looking and thinking of starting. The one behind her with cut peak. The cap don't come with a peak like that, pointing down like his is over his eyes. Oh, yes, I'm a soldier type, me. Let me turn my peak.
It's full all year round.
Look at him, sun is nicked.
Received a scoopful of the chicken stew that was on the menu on his tray. Unfortunately, there was a couple of chicken bones in it. And I know the orderly who was dishing the chicken
Oh, it's in bad luck, Mr. Brown.